Now, though, this cracker got England going last night in Thomas Tuchel's second game.
Only a win, and that will suffice. Although Reece James might also be the man that tries luck. It is James. Oh, it is magnificent.
Well, the reaction of his teammates to scoring told you everything. The excellence on that free kick.
First defender to score a direct free kick goal for England at Wembley since...
It's Pearce, and it's in!
1992, November, against Turkey. Can you remember which defender scored that free kick?
Really disappointed if that defender wasn't me.
It's you.
It means someone else has taken a free kick in front of me on the pitch, and that, as you know, my friend, is unacceptable.
Just a magnificent trajectory into the top right-hand corner. And England lead Latvia 1-0.
Record's been broken. How long's that? 33 years?
How
Wow.
can it take that long for a defender to step up and just put the ball where the goalkeeper isn't?
And it was just a wonderful free kick. He looked so casual, but the swerve and the dip on it was absolutely amazing. We know Reece James's quality. We know how good he is. The big question will always be, can you take him to a tournament if there's any question over his fitness?
Yeah, and that's the only problem. That's the only reason people were a little bit of uproar to him actually being in the squad was, has he done enough to warrant that in terms of game time? But whenever he plays, no one's ever questioned his ability. He's probably in that world top 5 in his position, you'd argue. So would arguably you'd say that he has to play when he's fit and available. But we want to see more of it on a more consistent basis, not only for England but for Chelsea as well.
Absolutely. After the game, Adrian Durham and Stuart Pearce discussed whether we've seen enough yet to give us confidence that Thomas Tuchel can achieve something special.
There is a huge job. If Thomas Tuchel is going to lead England to win the World Cup, there's a huge job to be done between now and next summer. A couple of little building blocks in place. He knows a lot more about his players tonight. I'm still highly dubious that we can win that World Cup. Of course, I want us to. We all want to win the World Cup. Just highly dubious. I just want to temper expectations just a little bit. Will Thomas Tuchel be thinking, I can win the World Cup?
Well, he's taken the role, and that's his job spec. Gareth's taken the team to a couple of finals, done a wonderful job in putting us where we are in world football. But the next step is to win it, and he'll get judged on how close we go to winning it. Listen, I think it's a tough ask to go to the North Americas and Mexico and potentially get our hands on a trophy, but time will tell. Are there any world powers in football at the moment? I think it's a pretty open, level playing field at the top end of the game.
I think the problem is, and you mentioned earlier on, Troy, games like that don't give us a clue. They don't give us a clue whether we're heading in the right direction. The games against Andorra that come home and away, they won't give us a clue. And yet, as you rightly said, in the Nations League, France against Croatia at the weekend, Germany against Italy, Portugal against Denmark, those sides get pointers about whether they're on the right lines.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're more competitive and more challenging, aren't they? You get to see people in their uncomfortable environments. What do they do under pressure? Even the penalty shootouts. How do we get to a point where, the only time we get to essentially practice those is in the knockout phase of the competition? That's not fair on the players either. So a lot of questions still to be asked and answered. I think Adrian did a wonderful job as always, trying to temper and give the other side of the coin. But we're England fans. We get excited, don't we, when we beat Latvia? We've got this is the one, and we've been waiting so long that we feel that we need to do it. But we have the squad. We've had the squad over years and years. Hopefully this could all come together. I think some of the other players and in the team, the likes of Ezri Konsa, the likes of Morgan Rogers. It really is painful for me to talk about Villa players, but they've been excellent, and they are showing now and growing. So this team will get better and better, and hopefully we've got the manager to take us over the line.
03717 223344 is the number to call. Joining us now for more is talkSPORT's England correspondent Faye Carruthers. Morning, Faye.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Troy.
Good morning.
Faye, look, first of all, how have you found Thomas Tuchel to deal with? What's he been like?
Charismatic, honest, and really in depth actually with his answers a lot of the time, which gives us loads of insight into what he wants from this England side and where he sees particular players. It's been really fascinating actually. I've quite enjoyed sitting down and wondering where he's going to go with his conversations.
I mean, and obviously, as he's found out, well, he'll have known it from his time in this country. You can't please all the people all of the time. Not everybody happy with the squads, not everybody happy with the substitutions, and not everybody happy with the results. But what more can you do than win your first 2 games by an aggregate 5-0?
Well, exactly that. That's his job. Get us to the World Cup. And then when we get to the World Cup, win the World Cup. The journey to get there, he can't plan that in terms of who our opposition are, apart from the friendlies that the FA can put on before the tournament. But who we play in the qualifiers is who we drew. So there's nothing we can do about the quality of the opposition there. But what he can do is try and work out this puzzle that has been England over the last few years, which is we've got incredible players, but how do you put them in a squad and a team that play off each other and play to their strengths? And in every single conversation that I've had with him so far, Jeff, he has said not necessarily all the best players will be going to the World Cup. He's already laid that down to avoid any disappointment, because there are going to be players that are not going to be able to fit into the system that he wants, that don't blend necessarily, and I'm talking on the pitch, not off the pitch, that don't blend necessarily with the other players that are available and fit into that puzzle. And it's got nothing to do with how incredible they are, but that there are going to have to be some players that are disappointed come next year.
Yeah, Faye, just on that, you talk about the puzzle. I think the frustration for myself and a lot of England fans is you see Harry Kane, he scored his goal, he stays on. We know what Harry brings to the table. Why don't we give the likes of Dominic Solanke 15 minutes to showcase what he can do? Why don't we get to see what Morgan Gibbs-White can do? I think that's the frustration from our side. I'm probably speaking for you as well here, aren't I, Jeff? Why didn't we get to see those guys? We know what Jordan Henderson and Kyle Walker bring to the team. So why are we seeing the same if we're trying to figure out this piece?
Yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from with that. Dominic Solanke, the only thing I could think is that maybe he's only just come back from an injury that kept him out for quite a while, and so that might have been that reason. Morgan Gibbs-White, of course, was a late call-up when Cole Palmer couldn't join, and he is a number 10 specialist, isn't he? So, and we've got a lot of those. But yeah, I agree. I did think we might get a little bit of a cameo, but I think the reason we didn't get that last night is because Thomas Tuchel wants to see Phil Foden in that space, because Phil Foden clearly wasn't comfortable on the wing against Albania the other night. He wanted more from him, and he said that he wants to give the players the opportunity to play the position that they want to. Trying to fit Phil Foden into that puzzle is something that Thomas Tuchel is going to have to try and solve. He's such an incredible player. We know the talent that he's got, and yes, 100% I believe that Morgan Gibbs-White has been in a much better run of form this season than Phil Foden has. But these are opportunities to try players in different positions, and he knows what Morgan Rogers brings in that 10 position. So they're my only two potential answers for that, but there is another one which I think is more of a zoomed out view of it. He keeps talking about connections and connections between the players and connections, down the left hand side, for example, down the right, close connections between the wingers and the 10, little triangles of work, and he has to stick with similar players in order to find those connections. So yes, I absolutely get the point that those two players have more than warranted some minutes over this international camp, but I think that might be the reasoning why.
Faye, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. See you later.
Cheers, Faye.
Thanks, Faye. Phil Foden. I don't know if Thomas Tuchel's been watching him for Man City this season. When he's had one of the worst seasons of his life, that's he's probably had the worst season of his life, and he's a great player. Of course, he is. Just on a positive note, one player I think who has stepped up the pecking order a little bit after his little cameo last night is Eberechi Eze, who came on and had an immediate impact and seemed to do exactly what Thomas Tuchel was asking. By the way, Ben from Birmingham agrees with you. Can I shout out Esri Konsa, Rolls-Royce defender? defender week in and week out. Hasn't put a foot wrong for England.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.